Most people walk into that interview room thinking they're about to have a conversation. They're not. They're about to be filtered, and nobody told them. Welcome back to Soluma Institute of Tech and Management, the channel where we pull back the curtain on how hiring actually works, not how they tell you it works. And today, we're going after one of the most dangerous questions in any interview room. Dangerous, not because it's hard, but because most people think it's easy, and that assumption, it's costing them the job before they even finish their answer. Why should we hire you? 4 words, simple on the surface, deadly underneath. And if you're answering this question the way most people are, you are walking straight into a trap that recruiters have set, sometimes without even realizing it themselves. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what I'm about to break down is something most career coaches won't say, most interview prep courses skip entirely, and most hiring managers would rather you never figure out. If this hits different, hit like. Now let's go. Here's the first thing you need to understand. The moment a recruiter asks you, why should we hire you, they're not actually asking you to list your qualifications. Your CV already did that. They already screened your LinkedIn. They already had a 15-second conversation with themselves about whether you were worth calling in. So when you sit across from them and say, well, I have 5 years of experience, and I'm a hard worker, and I'm very passionate about this role, you have just said absolutely nothing. Worse than nothing, you've confirmed that you're like every other candidate sitting in the waiting room. Think about that for a second. Hundreds of applicants, maybe thousands, all of them passionate, all of them hardworking, all of them with 5 years of experience. You just blended into the crowd right when you needed to stand out the most. This is the hidden filter nobody talks about. It's not just about ATS systems scanning your CV for keywords, though yes, that's real and we cover that in other videos. This filter is human. It's psychological. Recruiters are not looking for the most qualified person in the room. They're looking for the lowest risk hire. The person they can go back to their manager with and say, I'm confident about this one. And confidence is not built by hearing generic answers. It's built by hearing something specific, something memorable, something that makes them think, this person actually gets what we need. So the real question hiding inside why should we hire you is this: can you make me feel certain that you are the solution to my problem? Not a candidate, not an applicant, a solution. And that shift alone, from thinking of yourself as a job seeker to presenting yourself as a solution, is what separates the people who get offers from the people who get polite rejection emails 2 weeks later. Now, let me expose something that most people never consider. Recruiters are under pressure too. They have targets, they have timelines, they have managers breathing down their necks asking why the role hasn't been filled yet. They don't have time to decode a vague, meandering answer and figure out whether you're actually good. Their brain is running a rapid filter. Does this person understand what we need? Can they do it? And will they cause me problems later? That's it. That's the 3-part invisible scorecard they're filling out while you're speaking. And most candidates fail on the first question before they even get to the other 2, because they answer from their perspective, what they want, what they've done, how they feel, instead of answering from the company's perspective. The moment you flip that, everything changes. Here's the framework I want you to burn into your memory. I call it the PVP method: problem, value, proof. First, name the specific problem or challenge that role exists to solve. Then, state the unique value you bring to solve that exact problem. Then, back it up with brief, specific proof. 3 moves: clean, precise, memorable. No fluff, no filler. No, I'm a team player. Let's put this into practice, because theory without application is just entertainment. I'm going to give you 3 sample answers to why should we hire you, and I want you to notice how each one uses PVP, speaks to recruiter psychology, and positions the candidate not as a person looking for a job, but as an answer to a problem the company is already losing sleep over. Sample answer 1, the data-driven professional.
From what I've studied about your company, you're in a phase where growth is happening fast, but operational efficiency hasn't caught up yet. That gap is exactly where I've spent the last 4 years of my career. In my last role, I led a process restructuring project that reduced departmental operating costs by 32% in under 6 months, without a single team member being let go. I didn't just cut costs, I redesigned how the team worked so that results improved at the same time. I know how to come into a fast-moving environment and create order without slowing momentum. That's what I'd bring here from day one. Notice what just happened. The candidate didn't talk about themselves first. They talked about the company. They showed they'd done research. They named a specific business pain, the gap between growth and efficiency. They gave a concrete result with a number, and they connected that result directly to what the company needs right now. The recruiter's internal scorecard just lit up green on all 3 questions. They understand what we need, they've done it before, they come with proof. Sample answer 2, the people-first leader. You're hiring for a team lead role, and from everything I've read about your company culture and recent employee reviews, retention is something you're actively working to improve. I specialize in exactly that, not just managing people, but building environments where people actually want to stay and grow. In my previous position, I inherited a team with a 60% annual turnover rate. Within 18 months, we brought that down to 11%, not through perks or pay raises alone, but through a structured mentorship approach and weekly clarity sessions I designed from scratch. People perform when they feel seen and supported. That's the kind of leader I am, and that's what I'd build for your team. Feel that? The candidate answered a problem the company didn't even explicitly state in the job description, but it was visible in their public reviews. That's next-level preparation, and that preparation signals to any recruiter this person will bring that same level of intentionality to their actual work. They're not just here for a job, they're here to solve something real. Sample answer 3, the fresh talent with strategic self-awareness. I know what you might be thinking. I don't have 10 years in this industry, but here's what I do have. I have a perspective that hasn't been shaped by how things have always been done. I've spent the last 2 years studying this industry from the outside, and what I've noticed is that the companies winning right now are the ones willing to experiment with unconventional approaches. My final year project tackled a real supply chain bottleneck using a solution that 3 senior advisors told me was too risky, and it worked, cutting projected delivery delays by 40% in simulation testing. I'm not here to tell you I've seen everything. I'm here to tell you that I learn fast, I challenge assumptions carefully, and I bring energy and research-backed thinking that I believe would complement your experienced team in a way that creates real results. This one is for the career starters, the fresh graduates, the career changers watching right now, who feel like experience is a wall they can't climb. Did you catch what that answer did? It preempted the recruiter's objection. It acknowledged the elephant in the room, limited experience, before the recruiter could even raise it. And then it reframed that so-called weakness as a competitive advantage. That's not confidence bordering on arrogance. That's strategic self-awareness, and recruiters remember that. Now, here's something I need you to really sit with. Most people watching this video will think, okay, that's good advice, I'll keep that in mind. And then they'll walk into their next interview and revert to saying, I'm a hardworking team player who is passionate about growth. I'm not saying that to be harsh. I'm saying it because I understand the pressure of an interview room, the nerves, the adrenaline, the blank moment when the question lands and suddenly everything you prepared evaporates. So here's the practical instruction that makes PvP actually work when the pressure is on. Before any interview, sit down and write out the answer, not to memorize it word for word. Memorized answers sound robotic. Write it out to get clear on the 3 elements. What is their problem? What is my value in response to that exact problem? And what is my most relevant proof? Then practice it out loud until the structure feels natural and the words feel like yours. That's the difference between a prepared answer and a rehearsed answer. One sounds confident, the other sounds scripted. You want confident. And here's one more layer that almost nobody adds, the closing pivot. After you deliver your answer, end with a question that shows engagement. Something like, is that the kind of impact you're looking to create with this hire? Or, does that align with what you're hoping this role will solve for the team? You just turned a one-sided answer into a dialogue. You positioned yourself as someone who thinks collaboratively, and you gave the recruiter an easy open door to say yes, which is exactly the psychological momentum you want heading into the rest of that interview. The job market is competitive. That's not news. But what is news, what most people haven't been told, is that competition rarely comes down to qualifications at the final stage. By the time you're sitting in that interview, most of the candidates in the room are technically capable of doing the job. What separates the hire from the runner-up almost always is communication, self-awareness, and the ability to make the recruiter feel certain. And certainty is a feeling you create, not a fact you state. You now have the framework. You have 3 real-world examples you can model and adapt to your own industry, your own experience, your own voice. You know how recruiters think, what invisible scorecard they're running, and how to speak directly to the result they're trying to achieve. If this video opened your eyes, hit like right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this information and aren't getting it anywhere else.
Drop a comment below. Tell us what role you're interviewing for. What's your biggest CV or interview struggle has been? Or just share which of those 3 sample answers hit hardest for you. We read every comment, and we build future content directly from what you share. And if you haven't subscribed to Soluma Institute of Tech and Management yet, this is the moment. Because this is what we do here. We don't give you generic advice you could find anywhere. We give you recruiter-level insight that changes how you see your career, how you present yourself, and how you compete at the highest level. You came into this video thinking, why should we hire you, was a simple question. You're leaving knowing it's actually an invitation to prove that you've done your homework, that you understand the company's pain, and that you are the clearest, most confident solution in the room. Go walk into that interview like you already know what they need, because now you do.